The gig economy promises freedom. Work when you want, choose your hours, be your own boss. No office politics, no manager watching over your shoulder, no fixed schedule controlling your life. For millions of people around the world, that promise feels like an escape from cubicles, from low wages, from rigid systems that never seem to reward effort fairly. The idea of earning on your own terms feels empowering. You open an app, sign up, complete a few tasks, and money starts flowing almost immediately. That moment feels powerful. It feels like control. It feels like independence. For many people, the motivation is simple. Some want extra income on the side, some want flexibility while studying or raising a family, others are between jobs and need fast cash to survive, and some genuinely believe they've discovered a better alternative to traditional employment. And to be fair, there are real benefits. You can work from almost anywhere. You can stop when you want. You can log off without asking permission. You don't have to explain yourself to a supervisor. At the beginning, it feels like you've escaped a system that never truly worked for you. In the early days, everything feels light. Earnings feel exciting. Small wins feel meaningful. You feel productive without being trapped. Every completed task reinforces the idea that you're finally in control, and because the money comes in quickly, it feels more rewarding than waiting weeks for a paycheck. This is the stage where most people fall in love with the gig economy. It feels modern, it feels efficient, it feels fair. But this is also where the illusion quietly forms. Because freedom without protection always comes at a price. In the gig economy, there are no safety nets, no paid time off, no sick leave, no employer-sponsored health insurance, no retirement contributions building quietly in the background. If you don't work, you don't earn. It's that simple. If you get sick, the income stops. If you get injured, the income stops. If you need rest, the income stops. And when that happens, there's no system designed to support you.
Most gig workers don't notice this risk at first because everything feels manageable when things are going well. As long as demand is high and energy is strong, the cracks stay hidden. But life doesn't stay predictable. Cars break down, phones fail, laptops crash, markets slow, demand drops, algorithms change. And when those things happen, the responsibility doesn't get shared. It lands entirely on you. In traditional employment, risk is distributed. Companies absorb part of it. Insurance absorbs part of it. Labor protections absorb part of it. In the gig economy, the risk is personalized. You absorb all of it yourself. Every interruption becomes your problem. Every slowdown becomes your loss. Then there are the costs that rarely get discussed up front. Costs that don't feel heavy at the beginning, but quietly grow over time. Fuel, vehicle maintenance, depreciation, insurance, equipment upgrades, software subscriptions, internet bills, phone bills, workspace expenses, replacement costs, and then taxes. Taxes that aren't automatically deducted, self-employment taxes that arrive unexpectedly and feel overwhelming. On the surface, a gig may look profitable, but once you subtract expenses, unpaid waiting time, and wear and tear, the real hourly wage often looks very different. What makes this especially dangerous is how misleading the numbers can be. Platforms proudly show gross earnings. They highlight totals. They celebrate milestones, but they rarely show net income. They don't show what it actually costs to earn that money. And because payouts happen frequently, it creates the illusion of stability. Money arriving daily or weekly feels reassuring, but stability isn't about frequency. It's about predictability, consistency, and protection against shocks. And this is where many people begin to feel uneasy without fully understanding why. Because despite working hard, saving becomes difficult. Planning feels uncertain. You're busy, but you don't feel secure. The income feels alive, but fragile. And slowly, the question begins to form. If this is freedom, why does it feel so unstable? Many people believe they work for themselves in the gig economy, but in reality, there is a boss. It just doesn't look like one. The algorithm decides what work you see, when you see it, how much it pays, and whether you're even allowed to participate. Algorithms rank you, score you, and compare you to others constantly. They track acceptance rates, completion rates, response times, and performance metrics that aren't always transparent. One update can change everything overnight. What worked yesterday may stop working tomorrow. Pay rates can quietly drop, incentives can disappear, tasks that were once plentiful can suddenly vanish, accounts can be restricted, shadowed, or deactivated based on rules that aren't always clear. And when that happens, there's no real conversation, no negotiation, no human explanation, just automated responses in silence.
This is often the moment when people realize how little control they actually have. Despite being told they were independent, their income depends on systems they cannot question or influence. The rules can change at any time, and compliance becomes the only option. This algorithmic control creates a unique kind of pressure. To stay visible, you have to stay active. To stay active, you have to keep accepting work. To keep accepting work, you have to stay available. Flexibility slowly turns into obligation. You're always checking notifications, always worried about missing opportunities, always afraid that saying no too often will reduce your ranking or future earnings. Over time, this constant availability becomes exhausting. Work bleeds into personal life. Your phone becomes your workplace. Notifications dictate your schedule. Even rest feels conditional. You may technically be free to log off, but the cost of logging off feels too high. This leads to financial fragility. Income fluctuates week to week. Some weeks are good, some weeks are unpredictable. Planning becomes difficult. Saving becomes inconsistent. Emergency funds remain incomplete. Long-term goals get postponed. Retirement feels distant and abstract. And when it's time to interact with traditional financial systems, the weaknesses become obvious. Banks want steady income. Lenders want predictability. Landlords want proof of stability. Gig income often doesn't fit neatly into these systems, no matter how many hours you work. Even consistent effort doesn't always translate into financial credibility on paper. This makes access to credit, housing, and long-term opportunities harder. And so the cycle deepens. Because access is harder, people rely even more on constant income. They work longer hours to compensate for uncertainty. They chase bonuses and peak demand. They juggle multiple platforms at once, hoping one will make up for another slowing down. On the outside, it looks like hustle. On the inside, it feels like survival. There's also a psychological cost that rarely gets acknowledged. The stress of not knowing how much you'll earn next week, the anxiety of slow days, the fear of illness or downtime, the pressure to always perform, the need to constantly adapt to changes you don't control. Being your own boss sounds empowering, but in reality, you're managing uncertainty every single day. Burnout becomes common. Rest feels risky. Taking time off feels irresponsible, not because you don't deserve it, but because the system punishes absence. And unlike traditional jobs, there's no clear boundary between work and life. There's no guaranteed break, no protected downtime. Availability becomes currency. This is where the idea of financial independence becomes distorted. Independence isn't just about choosing when to work, it's about security, it's about resilience, it's about knowing that a bad week or a bad month won't derail your entire life. Many gig workers aren't independent. They're dependent on constant motion, constant availability, and constant algorithmic approval. None of this means gig work has no value. For many people, it's a lifeline. It fills gaps. It creates opportunities. It provides flexibility when traditional jobs don't. It can be a powerful tool when used intentionally. The problem begins when gig work becomes the foundation instead of a supplement, when one platform becomes your entire livelihood, when short-term income replaces long-term planning. True independence requires diversification, multiple income streams, emergency savings, skills that transfer beyond one app or one market. It requires understanding your real numbers, not just what the app displays. It requires planning for taxes, downtime, and unexpected costs. It requires treating yourself like a business, not just a worker chasing tasks. The gig economy rewards speed and availability, not long-term stability. That's not a personal failure, it's a structural design. Once you understand that, the narrative changes. You stop blaming yourself for instability and start making strategic choices. You stop confusing busyness with progress. Real freedom isn't just earning money today, it's protecting tomorrow. It's building systems that don't collapse when demand slows, when algorithms change, or when life interrupts your routine. When you see the gig economy clearly, you gain something more valuable than flexibility. You gain awareness, and awareness is the first step toward real control.